Bishop Johannes Seoka says that the 16th of August, the Marikana tragedy, should be commemorated with dignity. 34 Lonmin miners were killed and 10 other people, including 2 police officers and 2 mine guards, were killed in incidents leading up to that tragedy. Now, for more on this, we're joined by Bishop Johannes Seoka, a member of the Marikana Organising Committe. Bishop, once again, a very good morning to you and welcome to AM News.
Thank you for having me.
Now, the previous insert shows the trauma that the families of those killed during the Marikana massacre unrest in Marikana. That it seems that they are far from healing. Would you agree with that statement?
I'll agree with that. It's not just the families, it's the whole community of Ganeng, the mining areas. But just last week I was in the Eastern Cape, and even there people are still very frustrated that the Falam Commission in particular is not bearing any fruits that gives hopes to people, and that it is just a public exercise that is fruitless.
Yeah.
And so there are many people who are hurting, so healing will take time. And of course, in my own thinking, is that the money that is being spent on trying to extract the truth, which is important because the widows, families want to know exactly what happened, who gave the instruction to shoot and kill. That money could have been used better for healing purposes and working on reconciliation and development in the area.
So are you suggesting then that the Falam Commission is not a healing mechanism for the families?
It is not actually. It is almost like rubbing salt to a wound. We've seen women and children breaking down, and it's very traumatic. They end up in hospital, and they want to get back to their lives and do things that will probably just help them to recover. It's 2 years down the line, and not much has actually happened to show that it is helping them.
Now, since the 2012 killings of the mine workers in Marikana, have the families been compensated, or are they receiving any counseling or any assistance from the mining companies or from government?
Very little is done. Civil society is doing much more than the company is doing. I am told that people are not being compensated. They are receiving pension. Women continue to say their kids are still not affording school fees, clothing, a basic thing that a child would need to be at school. So there is a lot of talking about helping the widows and the families, but very little is being done.
Talking about the Falam Commission, are the families receiving any communication, those who are not present at the Falam Commission, about the proceedings of the Falam Commission and the going on there?
I'm not certain about that, but I think that the legal fraternity that is representing the families try very hard to bring everybody to the Commission. And I'm not aware of any briefing for those that are not there.
How the Marikana commemorations, which is taking place on Saturday, how's that going in terms of preparation?
The organization is going very well. We met last night and we put together a program. What is important is that there are about 25 events going on around the country since the beginning of this week. On Tuesday, we had an event at Ganeng itself where the Sikala Sonke women as group brought us together to remind ourselves of what happened in 2012. So Saturday is going to be very important in terms of retelling the story and healing of the memories, and just helping people to come together and do something that would benefit not just the people around the mining communities, but where the miners come from, and therefore the whole nation.
So the entire families of the miners will come to the event?
All the family members would come. The commission won't be sitting, I think, tomorrow in order to allow these people to prepare themselves to be present. But it's an open event because we are remembering and we're reminding ourselves of what actually happened and trying to say to each other, we must do everything that it never happens again. And that's a critical message.
Now, anybody else that you expect to be at this memorial of stature, maybe the Minister of Mining or anybody like that from government?
We have not had any communication from the government. However, everybody has been invited and welcome. Last year we did the same thing, but unfortunately the government did not turn up except the opposition party. Opposition parties came in their numbers and they all had something to say. And this time again we have opened the invitation and we've asked that people should be there at least 30 minutes before the program starts at 10 so that they can register if they want to talk. So it's an open forum of conveying condolences, support, and just being there for the families in particular who will also be there.
Are you hoping that this will assist in the healing process for the families?
It's part of the healing process, but as churches and some of the civil society organizations with social work background are working with the widows and the orphans just to assist them, because as I said earlier on, the Falam Commission is reminding them of the hurt and the pain that is still in them.
Now, we heard about the MOU between Rustenburg Municipality and the Royal Bafokeng, but there's apparently also an agreement or a project that was introduced between Lonmin and the Northwest Provincial Government. You want to tell us a little bit more about that?
Well, I hear about those things. I have not seen anything. I have an invitation from Lonmin to come and witness the dedication or opening of new houses that have been built. But these things are being appreciated, but too late. And one is very suspicious. Why now? Why it hasn't happened in the past year? And suddenly they're doing all kinds of things. And of course, we know, like this memorandum of understanding that's being signed, that it is good, but it is more of a public relations exercise than anything else. I think we have the responsibility as a nation to monitor what that money that will be provided will be used for. Because historically, very few people benefit from those gestures. And this one is critical because it comes as a result of the sacrifice people have given.
We've talked about the emotional state of the widows, but talking about the upliftment and the living conditions of the miners, according to your perception, have the conditions really changed since 2012 for these miners?
I've been there several times since the 2012 massacre. Very little is observable that tells you there is change. If you ask me, honestly speaking, there is nothing. On Monday or Tuesday, I saw only toilets, and they're pathetic. I saw floodlights that have been put up, but you know those floodlights that are normally put up to enable the police to see direction where they want to go. It's not really for the benefit of the people. Housing is still the same. Children are living in squalors. Workers are spending days and nights in the shacks. And so you can imagine that these people in summer, they really suffer, and in winter, the same happens. There's hardly any water in the area. In one yard, I counted about 20 people, and they pay rent. They pay for water. So there's just nothing really that one could say is a result of the lives that paid for all this.
And finally, Bishop, your message for South Africans, the grieving widows and the community of Marikana.
My message will be, particularly this week, that the widows in particular must never lose hope. There is a light at the end of the tunnel. For the people of this nation, particularly those who will be coming to the Kopi, I really plead for peaceful commemoration, that we must work together so that the efforts that are being made can benefit the wider society.
Bishop Seoka, thank you so much for coming through to AM
Thank you
News.
very much. Appreciate it.
That was Bishop Seoka. He's a member of the Marikana Organising Committee.